The writers on this season of America are getting a little heavy-handed, getting a little bit on the nose. You see, in this season that we're all living through, the libs are no longer only implicitly worshiping Satan, they are overtly, explicitly worshiping Satan, as the singer Sam Smith showed us 2 nights ago during the Grammys. So you see, he's there, there's fire, there's a bunch of transsexuals prancing around, there's Sam Smith has horns and a devil costume on. But that's not the best part. You gotta wait for it. Okay, applause, camera zooming out. The Grammys, brought to you by Pfizer. You can't possibly make that up. There it is. It's too much. It's too silly. It's too absurd. It's too real. So Sam Smith gives an overtly satanic performance with all sorts of transsexuals and fire coming up. First point there, by the way, and I noticed this the other day, even before Sam Smith's performance. Isn't it odd how depictions of demons, how depictions of weird, ghoulish, devilish, demonic figures are always androgynous? They're never super-duper hyper-masculine chads. They're never beautiful, truly gorgeous women with classical proportions and representations of beauty. They're always androgynous. They're always trans. And the reason for that is that the devil hates human beings. And sexual difference is basically at the very core of human nature. The difference between man and woman, the complementarity of man and woman, is right there at the heart of human nature. And the devil hates humanity, and so he tries to cut away at the very core of humanity. Okay, that's my first observation. My second observation comes from CBS's response to this. So CBS, one of the oldest major TV networks, was hosting the Grammys, and CBS responded in a tweet to Sam Smith, who said, "This is going to be special." And CBS said, ... "You can say that again. We are ready to worship." 2023, a major television network, not cable, not satellite, not internet, major TV network says, we are ready to worship Satan tonight on the show. Back in 1952, when I Love Lucy was on CBS and Lucy got pregnant, the network did not want her to appear pregnant on air. They thought that was too scandalous. They finally caved in because I Love Lucy was so popular, but they said, you can never use the word pregnant. This is why there's that famous episode, the Lucy pregnancy episode, which is said, Lucy is enceinte. They use the French because they don't want to use the English, because CBS said it was too scandalous to utter the word pregnant back in 1952. In 2023, CBS News will publicly bellow, "Hail Satan." But in 1952, you can't even use the word pregnant. Seems like things have changed a little bit. Seems like the culture has gotten a little more vulgar, a little more crass, a little bit more evil, more than a little bit more evil. What did the performance mean? Well, here is Sam Smith's co-performer, a man by the name of Tim Petras, who now presents himself as a woman by the name of Kim Petras. Here is what he says the show was all about.
It was literally hot. There was so much fire. I think a lot of people honestly have kind of labeled what I stand for and what Sam stands for as religiously not cool. And I personally grew up wondering about religion and wanting to be a part of it, but then slowly realizing it doesn't want me to be a part of it. And so, it's a take on not being able to choose religion and not being able to, live the way that people might want you to live. Because, as a trans person, I'm kind of already not wanted in religion. So we were doing a take on that, and it was kind of Hellkeeper Kim. But yeah, it was so incredible that Madonna introduced it, because Madonna is such a provocative and groundbreaking artist. And I think Sam and I definitely felt very inspired by Madonna in this one.
Very inspired. It was really hot. It was literally hot on stage. I know it seemed like a devilish performance, but it literally felt like hell. Yes, it does. That's how symbolism works. That's how our lives work. The things that we do here in the physical world represent things in the metaphysical world. And so when you dance around pretending to have given yourself over to the devil, that is a symbol of something that's going on in the metaphysical world. And he says, Petras says, I was always interested in religion, but religion didn't want me. I'm not surprised to hear him say that. Of course he's interested in religion. Of course the people who are the most ardent atheists are very, very interested in religion. Of course the people who are the most ardent, even more than atheists, Satanists or hedonists, are very interested in religion. You don't spend a lot of your time reacting against something that you don't care about. But what he says is not true. What he says is at the very heart of the sin that turns us away from religion. Religion, by the way, is just giving to God what God is due. That's what it means. It's a habit of justice that renders to God what he is owed. And so when you don't give God what he is owed, or when you disobey God, you are behaving in an irreligious way. But what Petras says is, I wanted to be religious, but religion didn't want me. Now, of course religion wants you. Why can't you be religious? Oh, because you're not willing to give up your pride, because you're not willing to give up your own selfish desires, and you're not willing to tamp those down and follow God's desires instead. That's not religion's fault. That's your fault. That's not God's fault. That's your fault. There's a scene in a play by Stephen Adly Gurgis, who is a big lib, but for a modern playwright, he's pretty good. And it's this play, The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. The final scene of the play is Judas just sitting alone, just saying, you didn't want me. I did everything for you, and you didn't want me, Jesus. And it's Jesus there, and Judas can't see him. And Jesus is saying, no, I want you. Please, just say you're sorry. Please, just say the word, and I'll give you everything. Please. And Judas says, no, you don't want me. You hate me. You don't want me. You don't want me. But he's locked in a prison of his own mind, of his own making, as is Tim Petras, as is Sam Smith. I wanted to be religious, but religion doesn't want me. No, what you want is to behave exactly on your terms and force all of reality and force God himself to bend to your disordered perception of the world. But that can't happen. That can't happen. And so you can't say, well, I'm a man, I think that I'm a woman, and if you don't affirm that I'm a woman, then you just don't want me in your religion. No, you're saying something that isn't true. And if religion is to have any merit at all, it has to be true. And so you can't make a demand that the truth itself become falsehood just to accommodate your disordered desires. I mean, this is the depiction. In Paradise Lost, this is how Milton depicts Satan. Satan says, well, the mind is its own place and can make a hell of heaven or heaven a hell. And Milton's Satan says, I would rather reign in hell than serve in heaven. And that's the very point that Petras is making. And it sounds, I assume Petras and Sam Smith think this is really novel and edgy and cool. This is the oldest trick in the book. I mean, this is what happened in the Garden of Eden when Adam fell and said, oh no, I'm going to disobey. I'm going to follow my own desires rather than God's desires. This is the whole story. But what's so crazy about it to me is the difference in Sam Smith's career. Right now, go to hallow.com/Knowles. If you are listening to this show, you probably know how important I consider religion and our faith lives. That is why I'm super duper excited to talk to you about Hallow. Hallow is the #1 Christian prayer app and the #1 Catholic app in the world. I love Hallow. The app has everything that I need to maintain a daily prayer routine. It's got over 6,000 audio-guided prayers, meditations, and peaceful music playlists. Plus, daily reminders will encourage you to keep up with the routine. You know how much I love Father Mike Schmitz's Bible in a Year podcast. It's really the only podcast I regularly listen to. You can listen to it on Hallow. You can pray alongside Mark Wahlberg, Jim Caviezel, or Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus in the new hit series, The Chosen. Just like physical exercise, daily spiritual exercise is critical to your well-being. You are supposed to be holy, and you can't be holy if you don't pray. It's especially true in a world that attacks faith and religion constantly. Try Hallow for 3 months for free at hallow.com/Knowles, Knowles. That is hallow.com/Knowles. But what's so crazy about it to me is the difference in Sam Smith's career. Because I know it seems silly that on this political show I'm talking about this British singer so much, but I like Sam Smith. I actually think Sam Smith is a pretty good singer. And you think about that, the first song, probably the main song that most people know from him, Sam Smith's Crazy. Listen to what the song is talking about.
You and me, we made a vow, for better or for worse. I can't believe you let me down, but the proof's in the way it hurts. For months on end I've had my doubts, denying every tear. I wish this would be over now, but I know that I still need you here. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one.
So beautiful song as far as pop music goes. I'm Not the Only One. That's what it's actually called. And what's the story of it? The story of it is we made a vow, we got married. I really wanted to be married to you. I love you. And I'm heartbroken that you've engaged in all sorts of sexual deviancy and you've gone and cheated on me. And I'm really heartbroken. And it's beautiful. The melody is really quite beautiful there, and his voice is obviously terrific. Now compare that to this song that he sang at the Grammys. What's crazy about the song is it's about the same thing. It's about a married couple where the man goes out and cheats on the wife. The difference is that in this new version, Sam Smith is celebrating. He's getting a kick out of the man cheating on his wife.
Girl, she got married to a boy like you. She'd kick you out if she ever knew about all the you tell me that you do. Dirty, dirty boy. You know everyone is talking on the scene. I hear them whispering about the places that you've been and how you don't know how to keep your business clean. Mommy,
it's the same story. It's married couple, husband goes out and cheats. In the one, this is presented as a tragedy, as heartbreak, as obviously an act of injustice. And that's the beautiful uplifting, you say I'm crazy. And it's this charming British man. Now he's dressing up like a sort of devilish lesbian, and he's getting titillated by it. And he says, tee-hee-hee at the body shop. Daddy's getting weird at the body shop and doing unholy stuff. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. It's so much worse. It's sad, it's worse, and it is a reminder that vice will make you worse. It will make you a worse version of yourself, and virtue will make you a better version of yourself. It is an indictment, not just of Hollywood, obviously indict Hollywood. This is an indictment not just of even overt Satanism, which is very, very bad. It's so funny that Sam Smith has to censor himself from saying some expletive, probably S-H-I-T, but he's allowed to worship the devil on stage. That's fine. You don't have to blur that out, but you can't say the naughty word. But it goes even further. It's an indictment of liberalism. And you certainly heard this with Tim Petras. They're talking about why he is now dancing around in devil costumes. Because he says, I want to do what I want to do. People say this is religiously not cool, but I need to be able to do whatever I want to do. Well, that's the premise of liberalism. That's the premise of Milton's Satan. That's the premise of what happens in the Garden of Eden when Adam says, no, I just want to do me. I'm not hurting anybody. It's amazing now that the liberalism that prevails in our world says, You can do absolutely whatever you want as long as it mostly doesn't harm other people. As long as the only person that it offends is God. As long as it doesn't offend anybody else in public, then you do whatever you want to do. As long as you're only offending God, that's totally fine. What a bizarre perversion of our culture. Happened really, really fast. Head on over to dailywire.com/Knowles. Use code Knowles at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.